My name is Raymond. I'm 97 years old now, and I have more energy today than I did when I was 65. That sounds like something people don't believe right away. I don't blame them. At 65, I was slowing down in ways I didn't want to admit. Not dramatically. Nothing that made me stop everything and panic. But quietly, things were changing. I woke up tired more often. My joints felt stiff in the morning. I moved less without even noticing it. And there was a kind of heaviness that followed me through the day. Not pain exactly, just weight. The kind you carry when your habits have been working against you for a long time. At 65, I told myself it was normal. That's just age, I said. That's what happens. And that belief is the first mistake I had to unlearn, because age does change the body. But many of the things we blame on age are actually the result of patterns. Patterns we repeat for years without questioning them. I didn't realize that at first. It took a moment, one quiet, uncomfortable moment, for it to become clear. I was sitting in a chair one afternoon, trying to stand up, and it took more effort than it should have. Not enough to alarm anyone else, but enough for me to notice. And I remember thinking something very simple. When did this become difficult? There wasn't a clear answer. Because it hadn't happened all at once. It had happened slowly, over years. And that's when I began paying attention, not to dramatic problems, to small ones. Because small problems, left alone, become big ones. The first mistake I fixed was this. I stopped treating movement like something optional. For most of my life, movement had been tied to necessity, work, errands, daily responsibilities. I moved because I had to. But when I retired, that changed. There was no reason to move anymore. No schedule forcing me out of the house. No physical demands requiring my body to stay active. So I slowed down. Not intentionally, it just happened. I sat more, walked less. Told myself I would start again later. But later kept moving forward, and the body followed that pattern. The less I moved, the harder it felt to move. The harder it felt, the less I wanted to do it. It's a quiet cycle, one you don't notice until you're already inside it. So I made a simple decision. I would move every day. Not exercise in the way people talk about exercise. No strict routines. No complicated plans, just movement, walking, stretching, standing up more often than sitting. That's it. The first few weeks were uncomfortable. My body resisted. It had grown used to stillness. But something interesting happened. After a while, movement began feeling natural again. Not easy, but familiar. And over time, that familiarity turned into energy. Because energy is not something you wait for. It is something you create by using your body. The second mistake I fixed was this. I stopped eating like my body had no memory. For years, I ate without thinking much about it. Not carelessly, just without attention. Meals were convenient, quick, sometimes heavier than they needed to be, sometimes more than I actually required, and I assumed my body would handle it the way it always had. But at 65, I began noticing something. The body remembers, not immediately, but over time. What you eat today becomes how you feel tomorrow. And if you repeat the same patterns long enough, those feelings become your normal. I didn't change everything at once. That doesn't work. I started with something simple. I paid attention. What made me feel heavy? What made me feel light? What gave me steady energy? What left me tired an hour later? That awareness changed how I ate, not perfectly, but consistently. I began choosing food that supported how I wanted to feel, not just what was easy in the moment, and slowly my energy changed. The third mistake I fixed was this. I stopped ignoring rest and started understanding it. When I was younger, rest felt like something you earned, after work, after effort, after everything else was done. But the truth is, rest is not a reward. It is part of the process. At 65, my sleep was inconsistent. Some nights were fine, others weren't. I would wake up feeling like I hadn't really rested at all. And during the day, I would push through it, assuming I just needed to keep going. But pushing through exhaustion does not solve it. It only builds more of it. So I began treating rest differently. I paid attention to how I ended my day, not just when I went to bed, what I carried into the night, what I allowed to settle before I lay down. And that began changing how I slept. Not instantly, but gradually. The fourth mistake, that one was harder to see, because it didn't feel like a physical problem at all, but it affected my body more than I realized. The fourth mistake I fixed didn't look like a health problem. It didn't show up in my body the way stiffness or fatigue did. It didn't feel physical, but it was affecting me just as much as anything I ate or how much I moved. The fourth mistake was this. I carried too much stress, and I treated it like it was normal. At 65, I wasn't working anymore, so I assumed stress would disappear on its own. But stress doesn't come only from work. It comes from how you think, how you carry things, how long you hold on to them. And I had a habit I didn't notice for years. I held on to everything longer than I needed to. Small frustrations, old conversations, things people said that stayed in my mind longer than they should have. I would replay moments, think about what I could have said differently, or what someone else should have done. And I told myself that was just thinking, just reflecting. But it wasn't. It was carrying. And carrying has weight. You don't feel it immediately, but over time it shows up in your shoulders, in your breathing, in the way your body stays slightly tense, even when nothing is happening. I remember sitting one evening and noticing something simple. I was not doing anything stressful. No conversation. No problem in front of me. And yet my body felt tight. as if it was still responding to something that had already passed. That's when I realized something. My mind was still holding on to the day, even though the day was over. So I began changing something small. At the end of the day, I would sit quietly for a few minutes. No distractions, no television, no phone. And I would let the day pass through my mind one last time. Not to analyze it, not to fix anything, just to notice it. What happened? What stayed with me? And then I would make a simple decision. I'm not carrying this into tomorrow. That was it. No long process, no complicated system, just a choice. And at first it didn't seem like much, but over time it changed something. My body began relaxing more easily. My breathing felt deeper. My mind felt quieter at night, because I was no longer holding on to things that didn't need to be held. Stress didn't disappear, but it stopped accumulating, and that made a difference I could feel. The fifth mistake I fixed was the simplest one, but it took me the longest to understand. I stopped isolating myself without realizing it. When you're younger, connection happens naturally. Work, family, daily routines. You are surrounded by people without having to think about it. But as you get older, those structures change. People retire, children move away, schedules open up, and suddenly your days become quieter. At 65, I thought I was enjoying that quiet, and part of me was. But there's a difference between peaceful solitude and slow isolation. Isolation doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually. You skip a few conversations, delay a few calls, stay home a little more often, and before you realize it, your world becomes smaller. Not because you wanted it to, because you stopped stepping outside of it. I didn't notice it at first, until one day I realized I hadn't had a real conversation in several days. Not a greeting, not a quick exchange, a real conversation. And that stayed with me, because something about that didn't feel right. So I made another simple decision. I would stay connected. Not in a big way, not by forcing myself into social situations I didn't enjoy. Just small connections, a phone call, a short visit, a conversation with someone I already knew. Those small moments did something important. They reminded me that I was still part of something, still part of the world moving around me. And that feeling matters more than people realize. Because energy is not only physical, it is emotional too. When you feel connected, your body responds differently. Your mind feels lighter. Your days feel fuller. By the time I reached my 70s, these 5 changes had settled into my life. They were no longer things I had to think about. They had become habits, ways of moving through the day. And something interesting began happening. My energy returned. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily. I woke up feeling clearer. My body felt more responsive. The heaviness I used to carry began fading. And I realized something important. I had not gained something new. I had removed what was holding me back. That's what most people misunderstand about health. It's not always about adding more supplements, more routines, more complicated systems. Sometimes it's about removing what is quietly draining you. And once you remove enough of those things, your body begins doing what it was always meant to do. But there is one more thing, something that ties all 5 of these changes together, something I didn't fully understand until much later. By the time I reached my 80s, something had become very clear to me. Those 5 changes I made at 65 were not really about health in the way people usually think about it. They were about how I was living my days. Because your body doesn't respond to what you intend. It responds to what you repeat. That is the part most people overlook. You can have the best intentions in the world, plans to eat better, plans to move more, plans to rest properly, but your body listens to what you actually do every single day. And over time, those small actions become your condition. When I look back now at 97, I don't see those changes as fixes. I see them as corrections, adjustments to patterns that had quietly drifted in the wrong direction. And once those patterns changed, everything else followed. The first thing I began to understand more deeply was this: energy is not something you wait for. It is something you protect. When I was younger, I believed energy would always be there, that I could rely on it, that if I felt tired, I just needed to push through until it came back. But that's not how it works. Energy is influenced by everything you do, how you move, how you eat, what you carry in your mind, who you spend time with. All of it adds to it or takes away from it. Before 65, I was slowly draining my own energy without realizing it. Too much sitting, too little movement, food that weighed me down, thoughts that stayed longer than they needed to, quiet isolation that made my days feel smaller. None of those things felt extreme, but together they created a kind of steady decline. Not dramatic, just noticeable. And once I removed those patterns, my energy returned. Not because I discovered something new, because I stopped working against myself. That is something I wish more people understood earlier. You don't always need to add something to feel better. Sometimes you need to stop doing what is quietly making you feel worse. The second thing I realized is this: the body wants to work with you, if you work with it. The body is not your enemy. It is not something that suddenly turns against you with age. It responds. It adapts. But it needs consistency. When I started moving every day, even in small ways, my body responded. When I ate with more awareness, my body responded. When I allowed myself to rest properly, my body responded. Not instantly, but steadily. And that steady response builds something powerful over time. Trust. You begin trusting that your body will meet you halfway, but only if you show up for it consistently. At 97, I still move, slowly, carefully, but every day, and my body still responds. Not the way it did when I was 40, but in its own way. And that is enough. The third thing I came to understand is this: Health is not separate from how you live. People often treat health like a category, something you work on for an hour a day. Exercise, diet, sleep. But health is not limited to those moments. It is shaped by everything. How you handle stress, how you spend your time, how you think, how you connect with others. You can exercise every day and still feel drained if your mind is constantly carrying tension. You can eat well and still feel heavy if your days are filled with isolation. Health is not one thing. It is the result of how your life fits together. That's why those 5 changes worked, because they didn't exist in isolation. They affected everything. Movement affected my energy. Food affected how I felt throughout the day. Rest affected how I recovered. Letting go of stress affected how my body held tension. Connection affected how I experienced my days. All of it worked together, and over time, it created something that felt sustainable, not forced, not temporary, just steady. The 4th thing I learned is something I didn't expect. Small changes matter more than big ones. When people want to improve their health, they often look for something dramatic, a major shift, a complete transformation. But those rarely last because they are difficult to maintain. What lasts is repetition. Simple things done consistently. Walking every day. Eating with awareness. Letting go of what you don't need to carry. Staying connected to people in small ways. Those things don't feel impressive, but over years, they become powerful because they shape your daily experience, and your daily experience becomes your life. At 97, I don't do anything extreme. I don't follow strict routines. I don't push my body beyond what it can handle. I simply continue the patterns that have supported me for the last 30 years, and that has been enough. The final thing I understand now is this: it is never too late to change direction. I started at 65, not young, not early, and still it made a difference. People often believe that if they haven't taken care of themselves earlier, it's too late. But the body responds to what you do now, not what you failed to do before. Every day is an opportunity to adjust something, to move a little more, to eat a little differently, to let go of something you've been carrying, to reach out instead of staying quiet. Those small decisions matter, not because they change everything immediately, because they change the direction, and direction, over time, becomes your outcome. At 97, I don't think about how long I've lived. I think about how my days feel, and my days feel light, steady, manageable. Not because life is perfect, because I stopped making it harder than it needed to be. Those 5 mistakes I fixed at 65. They didn't give me something extraordinary. They gave me something simple. The ability to wake up each day with enough energy to live it. And at this age, that is more than enough. Thank you for watching this video. Click here to watch another video that might interest you.